Hello. Hi, welcome to my first digital speed draw video. Today I'm drawing panels for a comic, my webcomic called Slices of Gremlin. Right now you can find it on a few different platforms. I release it every Tuesday morning, weekly, and you can find it on Tumblr, Instagram, and WEBTOON. Please support me, especially on WEBTOON. I would love to have you join my weekly readership. You can also get exclusive access to new comics before anybody else gets to see them. If you join my Ko-fi, you can join the Little Creature Club for $5 a month, and you get to see all the new comics a week earlier than everybody else does. And I also upload there weekly as well, and in the future I'm going to be posting other exclusive content. Won't that be exciting? Well, if you want to know more about my comic, it's an autobiographical comic that often features me in the form of a little purple gremlin, and it also has my family and friends in their own fantastical forms. So now that you know a little bit about my comic, I want to go a little bit more into the process. Chances are, if you found your way to this video, that you're also probably interested in starting your own webtoon, or else you just appreciate the comic work that people do. I started this comic as a trial run because I wanted to practice having a weekly project that I was committing to, because I have a lot more big projects I want to work on in the future as well. This has been a really good way for me to practice having a weekly commitment. If you're thinking about starting a comic or any other project, I would recommend to just dive into it. It's easy to build a momentum if you start it. It's easier to keep something up if you start it than just begin it if you haven't. Because you can always build up off of something you already have up. And it's that weekly commitment and work that you put into it that builds up over time. So even if you start out with a little bit, it's good to be putting in the effort. If all goes well, I hope to release a book, a compilation of the comics. I also try to keep up a cohesive and familiar looking color scheme for every comic, and to try to keep everything looking, kind of similar, because that way you kind of have like a very familiar color scheme and stuff that you're getting acquainted with. That way you can kind of get a little bit more immersed in the world. I also have plans for making more comics in the future. I'm very excited about all my future plans that I have, especially one very large and special project that I've been working on behind the scenes for a very long time. In fact, this is the one reason why I wanted to release Slices of Gremlin, so I could build up to this bigger project. Because Slices of Gremlin is more of a self-contained comic, where every different week has a different little self-contained story within the 4 panels. There's not really much continuity that goes on, past familiar friends and topics that might be brought up now and again. But my future comic, with a name that's currently secret and characters that are currently secret, is going to be a very large story with lots of overarching plot and character development in it. The story and the characters themselves I've actually been working on for about 10 years. So yeah, when I have more information about this project, I'll be really happy to bring it back up again. Stay tuned. I'm also probably going to be putting a lot of behind the scenes on my Ko-fi. If you want to go back to find it there, chances are that you'll probably be getting hints about my new projects there faster than other places. I've really enjoyed the process of making a webtoon so far. I was honestly kind of a little overwhelmed at the thought of doing it, but I found that, once I started, like I said, it's just kind of like easier to keep momentum if you've already begun. It's been a little hard to keep up with every week, but what I do that it really helps a lot is that I will build up comics over time to schedule ahead. Scheduling ahead is really a lifesaver. So I really recommend when you're starting a comic to build up a collection to go on and schedule ahead. Because you can schedule ahead comics on WEBTOON, Instagram, Tumblr, and I'm sure various other platforms you can schedule ahead too. Right now I have comics scheduled out about a month in advance as I'm recording this now. It's good. When I first begun the comic, I didn't have any scheduled ahead. But I soon got into a comic making little frenzy to try to build up some ahead. So if you can, it's probably good to go on and make a few ahead when you release the comic. But if you don't worry, just put aside a little time so you can schedule some ahead. That way, if you ever have a week where you can't make a comic, or if you have life issues, then you won't have to worry. If you're interested in reading Slices of Gremlin, please check us out on WEBTOON and subscribe and follow. I really have enjoyed putting all this work into my comics. Hope to see you there. I believe that everybody has a good story that they can tell to the world. So even if you're worried about, how original that your idea is going to be or how you're going to do it, I would still advise to jump in, because I think that everybody has a valuable voice and a valuable story they can give to the world, because everybody is unique. No two artist is going to make a comic that's exactly the same, and nobody should, because everybody should focus on their own unique voice. If you would like to know some of my biggest comic inspirations, I can list a few. I love the Moomin comic series. That is one comic that I've taken a lot of inspiration from. The pen drawings in there are very beautiful, and I love the crosshatch style that she uses. The Moomin comics were released by Tove Jansson and her brother. Based on the Moomin series of books that was made originally. I also love the original art from the books. Another comic that I really love the art from is the Uncle Scrooge series. The original comics by Carl Barks and Don Rosa are my favorites. These stories were very, very in-depth and featured a lot of adventure and peril, focused on Uncle Scrooge and his popular nephews Donald Duck and then Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I really love the style that Don Rosa and Carl Barks used in these works. Another series that I enjoyed was the My Little Pony comic series that was released for G4. Though I didn't catch up with the most recent comics, a lot of the earlier comics were ones that I really enjoyed. Artists such as Andy Price did very good work on the comics. If you're looking into doing comics, then think about what kind of style do you enjoy? What comics draw you in the most? There are so many different types of comics out there. And so many different styles too. What kind of story do you want to tell? Do you want to have a slice of life, an action, or romance? It's really all up to you. There are so many possibilities. And so many inspirations. The world is full of inspirations you can take from. Well, not take from. More of get inspired by. help to compile a list of a lot of your favorite things and your inspirations. Right now, as I'm recording this video, I've made almost 20 slices of Gremlin comics. If all goes to plan, then I at least hope to finish a full year of comics, which would be 52, one for each week. And hopefully beyond that. So, what comes next? Well, if you want to make a comic and for it to be successful, then maybe you should consider promoting your comic on various platforms. This is something that I still work at as well, but right now I promote it on a few different platforms and also, I'm talking about it here on this channel. It's good to bring in all the readership you can to your comic and get the word out. Another thing that's important in the actual, development of the comic itself is the fact that it's good to make sure that you have honed your style and skill. I think that anybody at any skill level can make a comic, but it's always good to put in that little work and practice so you know a few little tips along the way. Again, it's good to pay attention to how the comics you like are formatted and how the speech bubbles and all the panels look, because there are so many different ways and styles you can do it. It's very important to also just practice your art and to develop your own style, the style that you love. Of course, you want to appeal to the readership, but you also want to make something that you're passionate about, because I believe that passion is going to come out in your work, and it's going to create something that you can show to the world, and the world is going to see how much love you put into it. For me personally, I've done a lot of practice over the years. I have been drawing since I was very young, but I also took courses on schoolism a few years back. I'm not a sponsor, but I do feel like I learned some valuable things when I took those courses. It really helped me to think more about color theory and perspective and, pushing my silhouettes more. It really depends on the style of comic that you want to do, but for me, I enjoy making a cartoony look. And pushing silhouettes and pushing gestures and expressions can really help to sell the emotion and to make sure that you're making something that's believable. Ways to practice that I would recommend would be to do some gesture drawing. If you don't know what gesture drawing is, it is when you can play little videos of people doing different poses, and then you have a certain number of seconds to sketch out that pose and to get the very essence of that gesture, to see what you can evoke in the fewest lines and amount of time possible, and to learn what is important about the movement. Another two things that I do recommend practicing are color theory and perspective. Color theory, like I mentioned a little bit before, is the study of colors and which ones go well together. I think this can really help to create a good-looking comic. You can still create a good comic without knowing color theory, but it doesn't hurt to know color theory, because color theory can make the comics a lot more pleasing on the eye. Perspective, I admittedly don't use this. I admittedly don't use perspective in every drawing, but especially if you're drawing a big comic with lots of, very detailed scenes, I really do recommend perspective and learning how to draw the grids. Perspective grids help to know where to lay everything so that it looks natural and nothing is tilted or odd looking. Again, I'm guilty of not always using perspective, but I definitely recommend it for the bigger projects, and it is something I've definitely used a lot for big illustrations in the past. And the best part is that you don't even need to pay money these days to get these nice resources to practice with. There are so many easily accessible resources to artists. There are a lot of free YouTube videos, in fact. There are also books. A lot of books you can find pretty inexpensively online, and if you're lucky enough to live close to your local library, then you can check out books there on art and practice a lot. It's very important to love art and to love the process, because if you don't love doing it, then it's going to feel more like drudge work. But if you really find something to do that you really have a passion for, then I think it makes it a lot easier to keep going. So have fun. Even when you're practicing, try to enjoy it. Try to do it in a way that makes you happy, and draw the things that you love. Get to know yourself in the process. Have you thought about what your favorite colors and styles are in the recent times? It wouldn't hurt to make a little mood board or to figure out what some of your favorites are in recent times, and get connected with yourself again. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten on Slices of Bremen and my other artistic ventures. I really hope that if you're watching this video, that you continue to follow along. I really hope to be making a lot more videos like this in the future. This was my first experimentation with, screen capture and speed drawing in the recent times. I hope to be making a lot more process videos for art and sneak peeks of my comics and other projects. If that's something you enjoy, then please like and subscribe. Your support really means a lot to me as I grow. I really hope to be able to make a lot of other projects one day and to keep going. I really enjoy art and creating worlds. It's my favorite thing to do. This is a different direction for me I've been taking in the recent times, as I've mostly been focused on making one-time illustrations and products. But now, I feel like I'd like to take going more in the direction of illustration and comics, because it's really something I'm very passionate about and have wanted to get into for a very long time. It's been my dream since I was young to be an author and published illustrator. Again, thank you so much for your support, and I hope that God blesses you. Are there any videos that you would like to see in the future? Are there any topics you'd like to suggest for my comic as well? If you have any feedback either for this video or the comic in general, then please leave a comment here and let me know. I'd love to get back to you and talk about it. Is there anything you want to know about art or doing comics? Or anything you'd like to ask me about myself? I'd love to get to know you. Well, have a great day, and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it if you listened all the way to the end. Goodbye.